Hello and welcome. You're watching Property Hotline with me, Kavita Krishnan. Today we'll be answering all your queries related to buying, selling or investing in property. Our guest, our expert is Arvind Nandan. He is the CEO and COO and ED at Liases Foras. Arvind, welcome to the show. Let's get started. Vijay Kumar has already called in. Vijay?
Good afternoon, ma'am. I just wanted to know a property situated on Alwar Bypass Road. It is by the name The Essentia. And
Okay.
what are the prospects, growth prospects, and what is the future like for area? It is basically for investment purpose I am looking for.
For investment purpose you're looking. You've already bought the house or you're planning to buy a house over there?
No, ma'am, I am planning to buy.
Okay, fine. So what kind of growth potential do you see at Halwar Bypass?
Let me first of all, say something about the whole micro market. So, when NCR started to extend beyond, Gurgaon and, it reached Sona and further, Bhiwadi became quite prominent. Likewise, Neemrana, Daruhera, quite a few areas started to become prominent. Alwar Bypass is, the spine, in fact, so to speak. Now, what has happened is in the last few years, Bhiwadi, Alwar Bypass, they've all become quite, I would say, stable. So they haven't really seen any major jump in property values. Everything has been hovering around 3,000 to 3,500 rupees a square foot. And, it's a factor of a lot of things. So, you have the markets going a little slow, that's one. Apart from that, the quick development of these areas is also not happening at the pace that it was expected to be.
Right.
So what I see is, and I will speak about Essentia very briefly, but in general, the prices have remained stable at about 3,000 to 3,500 rupees. Going further also, I think, at least for a couple of years more, or maybe even longer, I would say 3 to 4 years, I do not expect any major jump or an explosion of prices happening in this area. So, Mr. Vijay Kumar, when you invest here, please keep in mind that you're investing in a very futuristic kind of a place. Something which had been industrial is changing its character, with time. And, if you invested here, be prepared for about a 5-year cycle definitely before you started to make, major capital appreciation. Essentia, by the way, is also on Alwar Bypass. It's a good project. There are a couple of other good projects as well. So it is something which you could actually look at. But remember, if you were to invest there,
Right.
You're investing in a good property which will have its future, but not immediately. So go ahead and invest,
So
but with this
Arvind,
perspective.
tell me this, Alwar Bypass, like you said, is the spine. Now, this is also the spine on which Bhiwadi is located. You have an airport coming up in Bhiwadi. An international airport has been announced in Bhiwadi. How do you think that will, boost the prospects of this particular area?
It certainly will. Any infrastructure project certainly boosts any particular location's capabilities. But remember, an airport or any major infra project takes a whole lot of time. Also, let me point out one more thing. There is Bhiwadi, there is Neemrana, there is Sona.
Right.
These are, in different states. So, for example, Bhiwadi is in Rajasthan. And there the development has been definitely good, but it's primarily of industrial nature, in the recent past. Only now it's been, sort of changing its color. So despite the airport, despite, the surface transport development, things will take time to shape up. And you have to, as an investor, you have to be recognizing this fully and then, wait your while when you invest. So if you invest and think that you're probably going to have a major upside in the next 2-3 years, that's probably unlikely.
What are the kind of rentals that he can expect? Because like you said, he'll have to hold it for a long term.
Yeah. Look, one more thing, good you asked for rentals. Remember, the apartment sizes here are slightly bigger.
Right.
So if you invested about, say, 3,000 rupees or 3,500 rupees, and if you invested in, let's say, about 1,500 square feet apartment, you're investing about 45 to 50 lakhs or so. Rental returns today are not more than 2 or 2.25%. So accordingly, you can estimate that you are going to earn a rental income which is 2% of 50 lakhs, which is about, just about a lakh of rupees or so. So, you have to accordingly calibrate your expectations.
Right. So Vijay, you'll have to really think through that investment because it's a very, very long-term, futuristic kind of destination that you've chosen. You're not going to see great rental yields also in the interim. So think it through and then park your money there. But if you do choose to invest, you'll have to hold for a minimum of 7 to 10 years. Let's move on.
I would say 5 years definitely.
5 years definitely,
yeah.
right. Let's move on. We have a question that's come in through our website, www.mbnow.in. Now, this is Amit Mittal, who's bought a house in a Treasure Society in Pimple Gurav, Pune. He wants to know whether he should stay with the investment or sell it. He also wants to know what is the current market price in the area. He had booked this in 2007 and got its possession in 2008. What should Amit do? Sell, hold?
Yeah, again, I think again a good question and something which we have sort of advised people on in the past as well. Now, Pimple Gurav, Pimple Gurav is one of those pockets in Pune, which is, I would say, of the 4 main growth markets in Pune, it belongs to the northern quadrant.
Okay.
The Pimpri, Chinchwad and those areas. Now, on the west, we have Hinjewadi, which is, quite blooming, flourishing. On the east, you have the Nagar Road stretch. In the south, you have the NIBM Road and those areas. And in the north, you have this. Most of the properties here, about 4 or 5 years ago, were being built, and the expectation was around an airport, which was supposed to come somewhere in the vicinity. That hasn't happened, and it's uncertain right now. But having said that, we also know that this area is one of those areas which was traditional industrial, and with the integration in Pune happening much quicker because of the Hinjewadi proximity and other things, this area is also doing quite well. Specific to his investment, which I think is the Treasure Society, I think it is a decent society. It was completed already. The rates in the neighborhood are about 6,500 to 6,900 odd rupees a square foot. This property is doing okay. But you have to remember that in the recent past, the prices haven't moved too much.
Right. And if you look at the chart that we are showing you on air, prices have moved around 2% in that area. But having said that, the market has been flat in the last couple of years. What kind of growth do you expect over here?
Right. So, like you rightly said, 2% or, I would say at best 5% in specific properties is what the movement has been, which is not too much. Going forward, I think not immediately, because prices are a factor of several things, of which one of the major factors is how is the overall city economy and the market.
Do you expect prices to go up? Should you hold it or sell it?
Yeah, so since they are not going to go up very soon and not go up too much in the near future, I would actually think, unless there is a compulsion on him, he should hold on to it, because the location is okay. You have to hold on it for 3-4 years, and then reevaluate.
3-4 years.
Yeah, definitely hold it for 3 years, which means once the development starts heating up in that area, and we all expect the real estate market to start improving next year, so you probably have a better chance.
Essentially, not much growth expected, not much price movement expected. So if you don't have any compulsions, hold on to it for at least 3 to 4 years. Let's move on. We have a query coming in via email from Anil Malik. He says that he has a budget of 40 lakh rupees with which he wants to buy a small sized villa. Now the plot should be approximately 200 square yard size in a gated community. He wants a ready possession property. The location has come. He wants a few properties in Chandigarh, Mohali or Gurgaon. This is for end use.
Well, Kavita, Anil Malik has to make a choice very carefully. The reason is, the budget that he has kept, and that too for the kind of properties that he's looking at, which is, an independent villa, which essentially means, you have to have a plot in a properly developed community or a development. Look, Gurgaon, first of all, is extremely difficult, with the budget and with the size. Chandigarh, of course, you have to look at outskirts, and so is the case in Mohali. What I would actually think is, if he wants to look at Chandigarh, Mohali, he has to look at things which are, slightly outside. For example, there is a large development called Global City, that's coming up, delivered or a possession likely in the next couple of years.
Which area is this?
So Global Society, I will have to recheck that, but you have to be in Mohali if you want to be in Global City. But my choice is slightly different from Mohali, Chandigarh or even Gurgaon. I would actually suggest that Anil looks at something like Sona or New Border, which is, not going too far outside of NCR. Sona is...
and Sona is coming up to an extent also. Developers are flooding that market.
Yeah, so Sona is something which has already been integrated. So if you look at that place, at the rate of about 20,000 rupees a square yard, you are actually going to land up with something which is worthwhile. And Sona, as we all have spoken very regularly, is something which is sort of riding the curve along with Gurgaon with a bit of lag.
Also, tell us something as compared to the markets that he's identified. Would you say that the markets that you are recommending, Sona and New Border, very quickly tell us, will that appreciate better over a 5-year term?
Oh, I think comparatively, yes. Comparatively, yes.
So,
Sona is likely to appreciate better, give you a little more positive returns.
Right, and that's the rate of Sona that you can see on your screen. Sona Road is averaging around 7,035 rupees per square foot. Prices have gone down, but like Arvind said, you can expect prices to go up significantly over the next 5 years because there is a lot of development that's happening over here. Let's move on. We have Ricky who's called in. Ricky?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, tell us what's your question. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Borivali, western suburbs. Probably I'm traveling, the voice is not very clear. I just need to ask if I need to buy an investment house in Dahisar and Mira Road. Which vicinity should I prepare? Obviously, when I'm looking at the budget of 30 or 40 lakhs, I assume it should be an resale value. I don't know.
30 to 40 lakhs, you want to
35
choose
to 40. 35 to 40.
35 to 40 lakhs, and you want to your options are either Dahisar or Mira Road.
They're close to my vicinity.
Okay. What would you suggest? Where should he?
Well, I think Ricky's choice is not very difficult, and I think he's probably taking the right call. Being in Borivali, probably if that is the anchor position, Dahisar and Mira Road both make sense. But Ricky, rather than Dahisar, which has sort of risen, you live in Borivali, so you know Dahisar quite okay, I believe. Dahisar has risen quite fast. So about 2009-10 was the time when you could actually get a 2 BHK, a 2.5 BHK in the Dahisar area at about 30 to 35 lakhs. Today it has actually moved up quite significantly from there. I would actually suggest you look at Mira Road more significantly, and moreover I think he's looking for an investment purpose, not really for an occupation. So look at Mira Road, and the good news is that in Mira Road you will find more than 3 or 4 dozen projects. If you are looking at something which is going to be coming up in the next 2-3 years, even then you have quite a few choices. I'll mention only a couple of names, but if you did your own searches, you will find there are several. So there is JP Infra's JP North, which is about 2 years away. A good property to look at right now. And there is Kenwood, there is Devtara, quite a few. We can rattle off names for the next 20 minutes. But I think that's the easy part. He can do that on his own. The key thing is, at about 6,000 to 7,000 rupees a square foot, you will land up with much better choices in that area than coming closer to Borivali.
Right, and Ricky, we are showing a chart on the screen at the moment. Mira Road prices have moved around 2%, have gone down by 2% in the last 1 year, which means the market is flat, and it's probably a good time to buy into this. The prices are averaging around 7,076 rupees per square foot, which is in the range that Arvind, you were mentioning, 6,500 to 7,000. So it's a good price range to look at, and you're probably better off investing in Mira Road as opposed to Dahisar, which is a much more established market in that sense. Also tell us this, Arvind, we have the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, and work is gaining speed on it quite a long time after it was actually announced. And the western suburbs of Mumbai will benefit from this infrastructure project. Now, is Mira Road in that vicinity?
Well, it's a little too far-fetched to connect Mira Road directly to DMIC. DMIC has important nodes, starting in the north from Dadri, and then 7 points in Rajasthan, Gujarat, and then coming in here. But yes, there is a proxy or an indirect benefit that you definitely gain. Because DMIC per se, as its main character, is supposed to promote trading and is supposed to promote industrial and economic activity. Mira Road being, in the catchment.
It is also a trade place where there are a lot of traders.
The community is like that. If you look at the heat dissemination from DMIC, Mira Road will definitely have a benefit. And not just Mira Road, everything on that northwestern suburb of Mumbai will have a benefit. So yes, by proxy, by indirect, or by by some kind of a reflection, it does gain. I wouldn't put my main focus there, but yes, this is an added point.
How long should he hold the property in Mira Road?
Well, I don't think he should be looking at buying and selling in quick time. you are buying at about 6,000, you must hold till it gets to about 10, 11,000. And I think with the way things should improve in the coming years, 5, 6, 7 years is a good time when half a cycle will give him
So
that.
Ricky, buy in Mira Road, buy between 6 to 7,000, hold till it reaches at least 10, 11,000, and that's when you should probably sell. You need to hold for at least 5 to 7 years is what Arvind says, right? Thank you very much for calling in. Let's move on. We have a question that's coming through Kamal Kumar, who's written it on our website. Kamal says, I'm an end user and want to buy a 3 BHK in Noida Extension. Please advise if Noida Extension market is good from a future perspective. If yes, then please recommend a project here. It should be under construction or it could be ready to move in. He also wants your advice, Arvind, if he should buy a leasehold property or a freehold property. Now, before you give him your recommendation on the Noida Extension market, the leasehold, freehold is something that I wanted to, if you could just break that down for our viewers, because that has also been in the news now, because most of I believe the leases are nearing their end.
Yeah. So, let's go by very basic definitions, otherwise, it can become complicated. And I think it's good you started with that because that's the first thing I wanted to answer anyway. So, in very simple terms, freehold is a property where you have the entire title rights of a property, whether it's land, whether it's building or anything. Leasehold properties are those where, an agency, which is the primary owner of the property, gives it out on a long lease or a short lease. It could be perpetual leases, which could be, going on forever. So there are leases which last even 900 years. There are leases which last just about 30 years. So you have to renew. So you are the user, you have rights to that property, but you are not the full owner of that property.
So I own the home, but not the land. That's essentially what you're saying.
Yes. So that is, that is usually the case, particularly in smaller towns where there used to be special area development authorities. They would lease the land for 30 years, 40 years. The property that you constructed was your own.
What happens when the lease runs out?
You have to renew it. There are terms for renewal in the initial deal itself. Or sometimes, you have to go back and negotiate. So there are various other complications that come in there. But, at the basic level, that is what is the difference between a freehold and a leasehold property. It's good to have a freehold, but there are certain other, problems or complications that can come in. So leasehold properties with a central authority, with a developing authority, is actually no harm. Now, to come to his question per se, I think, the first thing is freehold is actually not going to be viable, in the area that he's looking at, Noida Extension. So you better stick with leasehold. There's absolutely no issue with that. Now, the question per se is, he wants to buy a 3 BHK, etc., and is the market good from future perspective? Now, we've discussed Noida Extension, I don't know how many times. We've always said it's a great market. It's a market which is an extension of NCR, Noida, Greater Noida, etc. But at the same time, you have to realize that it is a market which is quite flooded with supply right now. The demand has been slow for last couple of years at least. So there is definitely a stagnancy that's there in the market, and you have to recognize that before you took a call. But despite that, I think there are 4 or 5 very good projects in that market. You should enter them right now. And, when the market goes up, you will be the beneficiary. So without naming all of them, I can give some indications. There are Gaur's, several projects, in fact. There is Amrapali's projects, which is, one of them is Oxy Park. There is Stellar G1. Gaur's Saundaryam is a slightly high-end project. But, the kind of proposition he's looking at, he'll find it nice. So if he can actually go for Gaur's Saundaryam or Mahagun Maiwoods even, those are very good projects. They are ready to move in. A part of that phase is still under construction. So, I think all the coordinates fit in quite well.
So you also said that this is probably a good time to enter the market. What are the prices? What is the average price in Noida Extension right now?
So look, if you want to average the whole of Noida Extension, it's going to be a very difficult and,
So at least the properties that you have recommended.
So in these places, he should actually look for something in the range of 4,000, 5,000 or even up to 6,000 rupees a square foot in certain good properties cases, which I think is a very fair deal right now.
4,000 to 5,000, which is essentially the sweet spot, like all our experts keep saying, and that's the price at which most buyers are, entering properties right now. So, like Arvind said, good time to buy. He also gave you a laundry list of projects that you can look at. You can also, do your own research, and if you get stuck, do come back to us and we'll help you out. Let's move on. We have a question coming in from Vijay Patil. Vijay, tell us what's your question.
Madam, I have purchased a plot of 1,200 square feet at Century Eden of Century Group, Bangalore-based Century Group,
Okay.
on Yalanka Doddaballapur main road in Bangalore North.
Hmm.
It is since I purchased it since last 2 years,
Right.
2 years back. Now I am decided to hold another 3 to 4 years. What is the appreciation I may anticipate? But I purchased this plot at 2,000 rupees per square feet, a gated community.
Hmm.
And what is the future prospects? And it is worth investing next 3-4 years. And how much appreciation I may get, madam?
Should we hold it for the next 3 to 4 years?
I think
Yelahanka
definitely hold
Doddaballapur?
it. Definitely hold it, Mr. Patil. See, the stretch that you're talking about, though, Ballapur Road, is actually mostly all plotted developments. And, your particular project, Century Eden, is also quite a well-known project. Even today, at today's level, prices have actually moved slightly. At about 2,400 rupees is where they are. So you have made some upside, but you've invested there, so you know quite well. Though Ballapur Road is actually moving towards north-northwest, which is, slightly away from where the main airport is.
Airport is, yeah.
So, and the development is going there very fast. If you stuck to it for next 3-4 years, I would say actually about 5 years, then I would think you would, in the initial couple of years, you may not see much gain, but beyond that, you'll start seeing gains, and you could go up to 70-75% gains very, I would say, relatively easily. So stick with it. 4-5 years, definitely stick with it, and, maybe evaluate it again in 3-4 years' time.
Right, and also, Mr. Patil, we have drawn up the chart for you of Doddaballapur Road. Prices over here currently are ranging around 3,970 rupees per square foot. So if you bought at 2,000 rupees per square foot, you've already seen quite a good jump in prices. And like Arvind says, hold on to this for the next 4-5 years. You could look at 70 to 75% gains, which is great in any market, right? So hold on to it. That should be the right choice. Let's move on. We have Nagesh, who's sent in a question on Facebook. Now, Nagesh says that he works in Hinjewadi IT Park. He's interested in buying a 2 BHK flat in the PCMC area. Can we suggest some prime properties over here? His budget is around 55 to 60 lakh rupees. PCMC is an area that's coming up very
and
fast.
I think a little while ago we spoke about, that particular location.
It's also in the list of the smart cities that Pune is
and
pitching for. Yeah.
I have always believed that these 4 micro markets in Pune, they all have a good future. They may be on different at different phases in the whole life cycle, but they all have good future, including Pimpri-Chinchwad. So, and when you say Pimpri-Chinchwad, it could be confusing, so you need to know that there are several smaller pockets like Raved, there is Moshi, there is Nigdi, and quite a few others that you need to look at. Need to look at all of them. So I would confirm this is a good place because you're in Hinjewadi. The connectivity is increasingly, getting closer, getting better. Quite a few projects, Nagesh. So you will have to probably look at a very wide and a very detailed search. A few names that could be given out is like Renuka Vrindavan. There is Goel Ganga's Ashiana, which is probably slightly expensive, but I would still say don't actually leave out those projects which are just a couple of lakhs here or there. It may eventually benefit you a lot. There is Mahindra Life Spaces and Thea and all. So look at all of them, choose your budget, choose your property carefully and see if you can calibrate your budget accordingly. That will help you a lot in the coming years.
Right. So Nagesh, essentially prices in the Pimpri-Chinchwad area, if we could bring up the chart again for you, they're ranging between 5,570 to 5,700 rupees per square foot. And like Arvind said, this is an area that is seeing a lot of development. There is also a lot that the PMRDA is planning infrastructure-wise to kind of link all areas within Pune. So, yes, great market, especially considering you work in Hinjewadi. So, commuting also will be that much more easier. So, those are the options that you have. Go out, do your research, come back to us and we'll help you. Right? With that, we are completely out of time on this episode of Property Hotline. But we'll be back on Monday to answer queries again related to buying, selling or investing in property. Thank you very much, Arvind, for coming in. Hope to see more of you on the show.
Similarly, I do hope.
Right. And thank you all for tuning in. You know how to reach out to us. You can write into us on email or Facebook. You can also record your queries on your smartphones and mail them in at feedback@mbnow.in. You could tweet to me, or you could call us live like all the other callers that you saw on the show. So reach out to us with your questions and keep watching Magicbricks Now. Thank you for watching.